So the dialogue is very important in the movie The Help, as it guides us through what the characters are feeling, their social status, and the different relationships that they have with other people, and we can see how close they are through the dialogue. Um, so the formality of the dialogue changes according to the person who's speaking and to who they're speaking to. So um, for example, when the maids speak to the women who hired them, they speak in a more formal way than they would when they speak to their friend, for example, or another maid. Um, so when the maids speak to their bosses, they use words like ma'am and Mrs., so very formal words. So the maids rarely voice their opinions because they're scared of getting fired. But when the maids are by themselves or with other maids, the formality of the dialogue changes and they start openly voicing their opinions. So we can see that throughout the movie, the formality of the vocabulary of the maids change according to how the women who hired them treat them. So when the bosses treat the maids very badly, the formality of the maids' dialogue decreases, and they start voicing their opinions in a not so formal way and not so polite way. Um, and we can see that the maids and the bosses have a very different way of speaking. So their vocabulary gives us an idea of the social class they're in. For example, the maids use a more popular language that like is a little bit like slang, and they don't conjugate their verbs properly all the time. So, for example, when Abilene tries to comfort May, she uses the words "you is smart," "you is kind," and "you is important." So we can see that she doesn't conjugate her verbs properly, obviously, and it shows us that she has a pretty informal way of speaking, and she talks to that little girl when her boss is not around, so the formality of her dialogue decreases. So, and her not conjugating her verbs makes us think that she is from a low social class with not too much education compared to her boss. So the dialogue also changes the mood and the atmosphere of the work greatly. So we can feel that the tension is present when the maids speak to their boss because they're trying not to offend them to not get fired. Um, On the contrary, when the maids are not surrounded by their bosses and are with other maids or their families, we can see that they speak more freely and the tension decreases a lot. So, in conclusion, the dialogue is very important in this work because it does a great job at guiding us through what the characters are feeling, their social class, and the different relationships that they have.